everyone, although it seems like it's still daytime because I'm looking at the sun. I'm Pam, your host for tonight, and this is Take Two Radio Soaps and Review. Joining me tonight is David and Anthony. The two women's are missing.
I'm going to reserve all comments on the fly-by-night women's.
Yeah, well, the women's had good excuses, so we have to let them go with that. So,
absolutely,
if they were just out partying and having fun, that'd be a different problem. So,
I'm actually really bummed that Carolyn's not here. Did you guys see all the postings about Marcy Miller?
Yeah.
That she quit and that hopefully Kate Manzi's coming back. Yes, I saw that.
I confirmed that today. It is true. It is not a rumor. She is leaving, and they are in talks with Kate Manzi.
That makes me happy. Not so much that she's leaving, but I mean that Kate Manzi, is going to reprise her role, hopefully, because I love her.
I wonder if it would have been any different if she had actually won the Emmy.
I don't know why that would make a difference, really.
I mean, it'd be awfully, pig nose to leave right after receiving an Emmy.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So, but what are you going to do? When they want to move on, they want to move on. So, there's nothing we can do about it. And just hope for the best, that we get a good recast. And when it comes back to the recast being the original one, then that's even better.
In the beginning, I had a hard time accepting her. Kate Manzi was just such a powerhouse. But I really grew to like her in the character. I do have one other really, really nice piece of soap opera news.
And what's that?
It seems that General Hospital and Jeannie Francis, everyone knows who is Laura Spencer. Laura Spencer, now Kevin Collins. Laura Spencer Collins, they have reached a deal. I don't know the details of the deal yet and when she starts taping, but she will be back on campus for sure this summer.
Great. I'm glad to hear that. Everybody loves her. At least everybody I know. There's always one in the bunch, but I think the majority of the people love her.
Yeah.
And I saw, I did not get to read the full article, although I'm not sure if there is a full article, but I did see that Haley Poulios from General Hospital, Molly from General Hospital, Christelle, Khalil, Lily from YNR, and Lauren Koslow, Kate from Days, will appear in an upcoming film called No Good Deed, and it says the film follows a spa owner who opens her home to a young woman who's had a rough go of it, unaware that she's just invited a sociopath into her life. So that sounds good.
Oh. Is Haley starring, or is she a supporting character? Do you know?
I don't know. All I saw was a little blurb from Soap Opera Digest, and I just saw that a little while ago, so I'm not positive on that. So we'll see. We'll know more. I'll give more information when I find it out, or when you find it out, or whoever finds it out. But just for our listeners, we'll be chatting with actor-writer Kevin-Spiritas from Days of Our Lives, Winterthorn, and Michael Slade, who wrote for Another World, One Life to Live, Days of Our Lives, Passions, and so much more about both of them that we'll find out about. Although we did find out quite a bit about Kevin on our last show. But they'll be talking about their new Amazon series called After Forever, which debuted on April 24th. And I hope you have all watched it because, oh, my God. And with that, I think we have Kevin on the phone. Kevin.
Hello. Hi.
Hello. How are you?
Happy Thursday. Hi, gang. How are you?
Happy Thursday.
I'm good. Yes,
Hello.
happy Thursday. You know what? It's very funny that you say happy Thursday because Michael will, for all those you are listening out there, I think Michael had some issues with the Bridge and Tunnel crowd today, so he's on his way. But we have a line in After Forever. It's happy Thursday. So now it's my new thing, happy Thursday.
Yeah, we'll hope Michael makes it, and if he doesn't, we understand when it comes to traffic. It's just, especially going through a tunnel. I heard that's like one of the worst things.
I think last time we were talking about the snow and the heat and Atlanta, so it'll all be fine. How are you all doing? Did you enjoy the show, Pam? Did you enjoy After Forever? Well, you reviewed it, so yes.
Yeah.
Kevin.
Yeah.
Come on. You had me in tears within the first few minutes and, pretty much all the way through. And whether they were happy or sad tears, it made an impact. Big time.
Well, that's very nice to hear. I think what Michael and I were really hoping is that we could talk about the two different stories that were going on in our lives and different, he had a story when I met him and I had a story at the same time, and we just sort of like combined these efforts of telling the story, and After Forever was born. And I have to tell you, we had a screening of this very Fast and Furious short form series, which is 8 episodes. They're all about approximately 10 or 11 minutes. And we did it at the Pacific Theater in Atlanta, Georgia, where Mitchell lives. Mitchell Anderson is my leading man. And he had a fundraiser put together, and it's hard for me to watch. It's hard, and I was there. I wrote it with Michael. Michael and I, came up over, we debated over lines and which scene to put where, and I still know everything that's going to happen, and I'm grabbed or gripped by it every time. Every time.
That's good.
So.
That's a good thing.
I think so. I think so.
Well, David and Anthony both watched it, so why don't you go ahead and give him your opinions?
Hi, Kevin. I'm Anthony.
Go ahead. Bring it on, guys.
Go ahead,
Hi, Anthony. How are you?
I am a Staten Island, New York guy. I've been watching soap since I'm 3 years old, and I'm also gay. And I just have to say, same thing as Pam. You had me in tears within 6 minutes, which is I've been watching soap for 30 years. So if you can get six minutes in, if you can get tears out of me, that's something. But I also want to say, I've been very critical of gay relationships on television, especially in soap operas. I call it the Mitchell effect from the Modern Family series. They can't put two normal men together. He should be a lumberjack. He should be a construction worker. He should be something to move us forward and get us out of that stereotypical stage we're in. At least in on screen. And I have to say it's so a non-issue in After Forever that it's a beautiful issue, so to speak. There's nothing campy. There's nothing over the top about it, and it just warms my heart. I had tears, and I was so proud in the same 11 minutes. And every episode, there was nothing camp. There was nothing thrown at us for gay appeal, for gay effect. And I love that. I can't thank you enough.
Thank you. But we had there's some colors, I have to say. Some of the supporting characters had colors of a joke or two that might be geared toward a higher effect of laughter. But I think Michael's writing is so dead on. It's so perfect. It's so clear, and it's got a rhythm to it. And if you can just sort of drop into that, whatever you are, you could be tall, short, gay, straight, girl, boy, you just start to take those words and you put them over it and let them wash over you, and you are occurring. And I think that's what we really wanted to have. I know I did. I wanted to just walk onto the set and continue talking and not have to make, a twirl of my mustache or, I didn't want to do any of that. And that part was really created. The whole show was created that way. And gay people are normal too. So it's kind of a beautiful thing that you are acknowledging. Thank you. I'm glad that you felt that.
I have one other comment. I'm astonished. This is my first short form series, and the brilliance at how the story came through in such a short time frame. The writing is so spectacular, and you and Mitchell were phenomenal.
Oh,
a complete story. Everybody that I spoke to about it was like, oh, but can they really tell a story? And I was like, yes, go watch it. You'll be crying, you'll be laughing, you'll be so happy. Go watch it.
Exactly.
That's very nice to hear.
Exactly.
Thank you.
And David, what is your opinion?
I was just going to say also just real quickly.
My opinion?
You do have,
go ahead,
I was just going to say real quickly before David, is when you have a half-hour show or when you have an hour show, you don't get those full 60 or 30 minutes. You get commercials. So, detract that out, subtract that out, and you've got less minutes than usual. And then you've got your short form, which is even shorter than those minutes, and now you've got nothing wasted. And again, there's things that we kept cutting things out. We wrote very heavily at first, and then it was like, you know what, we can just, I think we can trust the medium, and that's what you ended up getting. You do have full stories, and you are being told a beginning, middle, and end most of the time in all of these little episodes. So, and then they all have an overall umbrella, which is very exciting.
The casting.
Michael, I know you're listening. I know you're listening somewhere in the tunnel, and I'm doing okay, right? I'm saying all the right things, right?
Hopefully.
Yeah. Go ahead, Dave.
Hopefully.
What was your
Well, I wanted to say, first of all, I'm if you talk to Pam, you know that I'm a big crybaby, and and I was choking up. I was choking up on the very first episode, and my cat came over and comforted me. I don't know.
What's your cat's name? Because I had a cat like that.
Emmy? Yeah.
I had a cat.
She's
like
very
that,
intuitive.
Yeah.
So, but basically, I just wanted to say, you took the gay out of the gay love story and just made it a love story, which is universal for just about everybody to pick up. And I don't think it could ever be any more beautiful than it was.
Right.
Thank you so much.
I agree with both of you.
It's really beautiful. Wow, thanks. Well, I guess it's going to have to just be, that's the end right there. No.
Yeah.
That's really wonderful.
Well, while we're waiting for Michael to call in, I noticed something after every episode, and maybe it's just me, but I always read who the producers were and the makeup and, who does the song and all that kind of thing, I noticed a lot of Spirtas in there.
Yeah. Well, my family is very supportive of my craft, and they've been very supportive of my career. And this is something that who said it earlier? You don't know short form episode. Who said? I don't know which.
Anthony.
With David, did you say it? Anthony said it.
Anthony.
Well, so Anthony said that. Michael and I really just sort of like, hey, let's put on a show, and we first wrote and created and told story and debated, conflicts and debated, where it would land and how it would fit in, but we did it without any boundaries. We did it with just no formula except to tell story. And, we had an idea that we would maybe move it over here and then go this way with the story and then trim it or expand upon it. But it was really, we just gave ourselves no boundaries. We gave ourselves no sponsors. So we wouldn't have to, we didn't have a Procter and Gamble going, you can't have this much time and you can't talk about this. It was really just to create story that was moving and touching and gripping. And then that, once you have everything aligned in place and you have all your T's crossed and your I's dotted, you got to go out and raise money. And the old, I guess the trick about raising money is that people are not investing in your show. They're investing in your vision of the show. They're investing in what you create for them. And my younger brother, Eric, was the first one to show up and said, hey, I believe in this project. So I love him for that. And,
Yeah, well, what surprised me about it was that I didn't realize that your family members were, involved in any type of entertainment. Of course, that's not something, we don't get into personal lives, so.
Yeah. I mean, they're involved in entertainment because they're my parents or they're my siblings, but they're not people who go out on a weekly basis and go, okay, I've got to option that story and do this. The people who you see hold together is a compilation, so to speak, of people who I know enjoy great stories. They want to be part of the business. They want to support the people in the business, and that's who our producers are. And people said, why don't you just get why don't you do a GoFundMe or whatever. That's a whole game to me that I don't understand. I just know that if I can go out and personally sit down across from someone and say, so this is a story that I've been looking at, and Michael's been looking at the story from over here. So we put this together, and then boom, this is what happened, and then they're kind of getting drawn into it. I think that's how it happens for me when I'm being pitched a story, or I mean, even when Michael has an idea sitting across the room and we're talking, we're thinking, and he'll come up with an idea. I'll see the eyebrows raised, and I'll go, what? And I'll see it right there across his face. So that's how people get excited about coming in as producers. That's how they come in as creative consultants or even publicity. So
it really does come across as a passion project.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm glad. I mean, without being too heavy-handed, I mean, Michael's the one who would tell you that he lost his partner 5 years ago from the same diagnosis that we're dealing with in the show, and it's a beautiful homage to a lot of people who are not here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I have to say, I felt all of your pain when Jason was dying, and it reminded me of my mom. I know many, if not all viewers, will be able to relate to this. So how hard was it for you to get through those scenes? I mean, Mitchell was outstanding and very believable.
Well, yeah, he's just quite something. Mitchell and I have a history of friendship and camaraderie in acting class or in our group of friends out here in Los Angeles. And I guess about 15 years ago, I mean, we spoke about this last time we were on the show, but when Mitchell left the business to go to Atlanta, and his husband set up shop there, and Mitchell opened a restaurant, and he's very successful, and he's very much a creative when it comes to the menu and the way that the store feels and looks. And but I was just able to be with Mitchell and just kind of, I don't know, I had the history of 30 years just swelling around us. So I just had to tap into that. But I think back to the theme is people may very well relate to this immediately because they have had loss. But there is going to be a moment in everyone's life where loss is going to move in the front seat and go, this is what's happening, and this is how it happened, and this is what you're not dealing with. And there's no stopping that. You just can't avoid it. So the universal theme of this is we all have loss. But when we have loss, is it really, is someone over? I mean, when someone's dead, is the relationship over? No, I don't think so. when someone's passed away, I still talk to these people as if they're here.
I do
still
too.
talk to my grandparents.
I do too.
I talk to my agent all the time. I had an agent who was a very early casualty in the AIDS epidemic, and I'm telling you, if he would have seen what we've pulled off, I'm sure he would be doing cartwheels. Could not. I'm sure he couldn't even imagine what the business looks like now. So I'm grateful that whoever was pulling strings up above had me cross paths with Michael, and Michael saying, "Hello, Kevin, right?" And I had never met him, and I just knew him from his name on the script, and we just started talking, and we both thought, "Wow, here's an opportunity." So we went and created something.
Well, to get onto something there's two things that I thought were very funny, and one was, how does a dead person eat a salad?
Very carefully.
I thought that was so funny. I mean, I love that he was around, during this whole time that you were going through, his passing and whatever. But when he picked up that salad and started eating, I was like, what?
But there's something very, I think it's a very interesting thing that you point out. And for those of you who have not yet seen this story being told, when Brian loses Jason, and it's told through flashbacks, and there's also different scenes that are being revealed that are not flashbacks, and you'll start to see how we pattern that. But the scenes where it's Jason with Brian, and Brian is talking to him, I think it's more of his subconscious. It's more of he's working it out as if his partner's there, and so you go ahead and eat. I mean, that would be what it would be like, right? You know what? I'm going to take care of this phone call. You go eat. I mean, that's sort of what it is. Even when he's sitting on the counter, it's like, coffee's ready, breakfast. It's the things that he would say to him. It's the things that make him feel better. It's the things that I think, for my point, to go into that work is to see what would have made me comfortable in that particular situation, and being able to walk through that house, walk through the streets, and walk through the places where Jason had once been with Brian. So it has to be some, so if he's eating salad, he's eating salad.
Yeah.
it's all in Jason's mind. It's all in Brian's mind anyway.
Well, I have to say the other part that I burst out laughing because I knew that it just couldn't be was when you thought that guy at the table was David. I thought that was hilarious. I mean, that's just something that you picture in real life, happening. You see somebody just sitting there by themselves and you think, oh, my God, is that my date?
Yeah. It's all
That's
when
just my luck,
it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't. We weren't trying to make it a big joke, but it was. It was
funny. I don't care if it was a woman or a short guy, a tall guy. It didn't matter. It just was funny the way it was played off.
It is. It's just. Oh boy, I think I should have said drinks. Okay, here it is. Yeah. But, yeah. It's a fun ride. I think it's a fun ride. That's what I can most honestly say. I think Michael would say it too. It's a fun ride, and it's an important ride to take. And
exactly.
I think your two co-hosts today would maybe agree that maybe it's the first time that you're not sitting in the audience watching a heterosexual thematic piece going, how do I fit myself into there? How do I fit myself into that story? Because I've had stuff like that happen, but and I think for the first time it's the opposite. There's people going, how do I fit myself? That happened to me, but it's two men. So the questions are being raised, and I think that's what's important.
Absolutely.
And Anthony, you want to comment on that?
Absolutely. Film has done a great job in the last 10 years of really moving forward. There's always been the gay films, which, are great. Like, mainstream film has come a lot further in the last 10 years. But on television and even on some of the web series, not really. There's always that element where I kind of cringe. And it's like, that's not me. That's not anyone I know. And that's, I didn't have a single moment watching After Forever of cringing.
That's really lovely. That's lovely. Yay.
Yay. David, did you find any parts particularly funny that I didn't mention? Or
funny,
heartwarming or
I
something?
have to. One thing that caught me off guard was one of the very first scenes, because I did, and it was with Brian and Jason in bed.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I didn't know at the time that he had died until you got me choked up saying, "Why did you have to die on me?" And I think from then on,
that's where it got me. Yep.
Yep.
I thought he was there with you.
Yeah.
That's how believable I know.
Well, thank you. And Jennifer Pepperman took this script, our director, and she, she's worked in soaps for so long, and she knew them like the back of her hand. And she took all that knowledge and she focused it clearly. Every shot was aligned or lined up and folding into the next one. If you go back and watch it, as many times as I've seen it, even in editing, I go, oh, right, that does work out so well right there. They did that. So there's a moment where Riley is riding the bike in episode 2, and he's lifting his hands off the handlebars. Look, Brian, no hands. And there's a moment where Jason is taking off his shirt, and his arms go up, and it goes right into that cut. And it's really, I think the show is quite seamless. And I think what we tend to we tend to forget, or we tend to be unconscious about it, is that our lives are really seamless. We're the ones stepping out of sync and tripping a bit. But running into Michael was seamless. Talking about stories that we had in our heads, seamless. Getting this dream cast together was seamless. And I know it sounds unfathomable, but we have had, knock wood, a blessed experience with this. This has just been from the step forward, boom.
I have to agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you could have did it any better than what you did. Seriously.
I'm very happy. I'm trying to take on the answers for what Michael and I would be volleying back and forth here, because I know how he feels on some of this stuff. But we're both really proud of it, and I keep telling him, I keep looking at the screen, or I'll be with friends and we'll watch an episode, and I'll go, I watched the show, and I'm not only proud of what was done to bring this forward, but I'm proud because it's representative of the kind of stuff that I always look to do. Like if I'm out in a movie theater and I see, look, Hugh Jackman in The Greatest Showman, that's my kind of movie. I love it. I've worked with Hugh Jackman. I love him. He's great. I would look at the screen and go, I want to do a show just like, and then here I am sitting in the theater watching After Forever, and I'm feeling the same thing, and I go, oh, wait, that is my show. Not mine, but it's our show. It's something we've done. It's something that we've put forward, and that is what really is, to me, the graduation from just being on stage or being the actor. And I had something to say, and Michael had something to say, and I'm so grateful that they dovetailed because it's After Forever now on Amazon Prime, and go to it. And then when you see it, folks, please give it a great review, and we'll hopefully, fingers crossed, try and bring you a season 2 or 3 or 4 or 5.
Well, you definitely got a lot of rave reviews on Amazon. I looked at those.
I know.
And you just really did it. I mean, that should show you, again, not by just us saying it, but by all the other people that have watched it. Everybody loves it.
Yay. I am now able to relax a little bit because we're not in the filming process and we're not running from set to set. But I was at a convention, autograph signing session convention 2 weeks ago in Parsippany, New Jersey. Got to go there, and it was just a lot of fun with a lot of people we haven't seen in a long time, and a lot of celebrities. And I would be getting ready to sign my autograph on my Friday the 13th poster, and someone would reach over and say, "I saw After Forever last night, and thank you." And it's now in the world. It's out there. It's someone is commenting on something that is now out of our hands. So, and I think we had just been launched for 2 days at that point. So that was exciting. That's exciting. And they do, if you read those reviews, they are all unique, yet they're all very similar. They're very beautiful, and they're touching.
Well, I'm reading one right now that I want to mention because I don't think this
is it my mom?
person. If your mom's name is James, then no. This person, it doesn't seem like, from what they're saying here, that they knew about this ahead of time. He wrote, a very emotionally engaging and laugh-out-loud new series. I clicked on this one while just browsing and couldn't stop watching. It's funny, warm, and very touching in all the ways a good show needs to be. I was entertained by these characters, but more than that, I was brought into their world and made to feel a part of their lives. I felt I knew these characters, people in midlife coping with losing a life partner, and the journey forward into the great unknown. Powerful stuff with profesh writing. I guess it means professional. Directing and acting all the way. Kudos to all involved. The series deserves a big run.
Yay, thanks, James. Thanks, whoever James is.
So that one stood out to me because, like I said, he wasn't told ahead of time. He was just clicking through and decided to pop on it. I love that.
Yeah, it's great. It's very rewarding. I have a big smile on my face. I'm sure Michael would too. Although I know he's probably
Michael, get out of the tunnel.
I'm sure he's probably. I can't believe. Gosh. Anyway, so that's what's going on. We're happy to have people coming to the show and see it, and excitedly spread the news, spread the good news that it's something that everyone should see. And thank you for having me on again. My gosh.
Oh, you're very welcome. We're very pleased to have you back with us and be able to discuss in detail about the actual series. You know, it's so hard when you came on the first time without giving anything away. So
it was a little bit of a challenge, but we knew once the show is out there, you can't really do anything about it. You're going to hear things no matter what. So the one or two surprises that you do have available to you in this story and in this way it's told, it was worth, I think, holding on to that. So
absolutely.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Michael and I keep thinking about where do we go with the next season? How do we intertwine a couple of other ideas we've been having? So it's really it's very exciting. That was I think one of my favorite parts, by the way, of the collaboration was sitting with him and
since Candice couldn't make it, I'll go ahead and just ask her questions while we're waiting for Michael. She phrased this to both of you, this first question, but I'm sure you can answer it. She wrote, Michael and Kevin, the show will answer a tough question that many people have yet to answer themselves after certain situations, but what do you guys think? Can you find a newfound happiness in your life again?
You mean the characters or Michael or Kevin?
I think she's talking about real life.
So, read it again. Read that question one more time.
Yeah, I know. Michael and Kevin, the show will answer a tough question that many people have yet to answer themselves after certain situations. But what do you guys think?
Okay, so she's talking around it. Right. Great, okay.
Yeah, because they show that you're finally moving, that Jason is finally moving on, and I guess she's saying, can you find a newfound happiness in your life again? Mm-hmm.
I think, Brian, I honestly,
Brian,
again, I go back to that.
Brian.
I know. I honestly believe that when someone dies, that is not when the end. That's not the end. When someone is gone, the love never dies. The communication does not end. You are still in communication and in a relationship, I believe, with that person, whether they are here in the physical or not. So we wove together the how can I say this? We wove together the story that would allow Brian to begin to work through and to navigate through more and more of his his healing, and that you had to give him something to move toward. I don't know if the end of season 1 is actually going to be where he lands right away, or if he finds there's resistance to that particular situation. So I can't imagine a life just stopping. I don't know. I haven't had that. I just haven't had that person die in my life yet. So I've had people who have died, and they've been grandparents or they've been teachers. But to have the love of my life die, I'm sure there's a different swell of emotions that you have to constantly work through over and over again.
Right.
There is, and I want to speak to Candice's question for a second, because you cry. You have permission to cry, but you sort of need that permission to laugh again. You need that permission to feel good about something again. And the show did it subtly, but very powerfully.
Yeah. Thank you. And Michael has said, beautiful. Too, and Michael has said in another interview, which I'm going to offer up here, there are certain things in certain scenes that Michael was not able to say to his partner at that time. So he gets to kind of creatively put that out there. And that was such it wasn't a surprise, but it was so beautifully revealed to me, because I didn't even know that was what he was doing at that time for that particular scene here, or whatever he was referring to. And I just thought that was really beautiful. So you do have permission to cry. And if someone wants to cry every day, they are allowed to cry every day. But hopefully you can move toward some more laughter and some more joy, and be grateful that that person was in your life, or is in our lives for some amount of time, I think.
Excuse me. Well, I think it helps with, how you showed it in your series, to have the support of not only your family, but also your friends. And that whole support group made a world of difference in your life, in Brian's life. So speaking of that, I know David had a question about the family friend thing.
Yeah.
So David, why don't you go ahead and ask that?
I said, both Brian and Jason were shown in the most positive light, with supportive friends and family, successful careers, etc. What, if anything, does Brian need to improve upon?
Oh, well. I say this is a joke. It will not mean anything now, so I'm not going to even try it. There's just certain character traits that I'd make a joke out of. But anyway, I think there's probably a great deal of things that happen in the life that they have together. I mean, again, you're looking at the overall brushstrokes of a couple who they had love that lasted for. Their love was supposed to last forever. They had everything. They had friends. They had family. They had great apartment. They had, they had money. Blah 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 blah. It was supposed to last forever until one day it didn't. And that's the wake up call. That's the oh my God. And there's things that happen in a relationship that, I mean, there's even something that happens, and I won't tell all of it here because I don't want to spoil that particular scene. Is Brian accuses Jason of being selfish at one point after the diagnosis, and it's that the first time I really jumped into that, it was like I heard people go, "Ooh, hiss, boo," and, but it's a reaction. It's a reaction. And it's very honest, and it's very, and it is selfish on a certain level, but it's because we don't know what that means to let that be what it is. I think. That's how I look at it, and they come to the same place.
Yeah,
it's so real.
Yeah, it's pretty real.
That moment was so real. I did lose someone, and you have that moment where, you want to blame them for leaving you. So I could see if I had that experience, also blaming them for staying. Especially if it was that type of relationship. That was such a real moment.
Well, let me interrupt you guys for a quick moment because we have Tunnel Guy with us right now.
Oh, yay!
Hello, Michael.
Hello,
Hi, Michael.
Can you hear me? I've been listening for a little bit, but...
Oh, good. I hope I answered all your answers right.
I didn't hear that much. I'm sorry. I had zero. I literally had no power left on my phone. I apologize.
Don't you have a charger in your car?
I do, but I left it sitting on my kitchen table. So that was the problem. I thought I had it with me.
Oh, okay.
So I was dealing with the frustration of anyway. Nice to be here.
We've all done that, so don't even worry about it. We're happy you're here.
Michael?
Yeah.
Kevin speaking. I
know.
You should ask.
I recognize your voice.
I'm gonna ask David to tell you what he had told me at the very beginning about his opinion about the feeling of what we created. Go ahead, David.
Oh, that okay. Michael.
Hi, David.
It was
hi,
beautiful.
Michael. It was. I think what you guys did, you took the gay out of Gay Love Story and you made it just a love story, and I don't think you could ever made it any more beautiful than you did.
Thank you. I mean, certainly, I think one of the things that I've been most pleased with, let me put it that way, is that, for decades, as gay men, we have watched movies and television shows, and you sort of do that mental switching it out somehow in your mind, to put yourself into the story. And I think what's really cool is that with this is that it's speaking to everybody, in the way that, it's speaking to everybody. And it's, that straight people of different ages, everybody is just experiencing it as a love story that they get involved with. And it was certainly a goal of ours in creating it. And it's really exciting to see, to be getting response that it's doing that.
And you're definitely getting responses. Like I was telling Kevin, I was looking at the Amazon reviews and everybody. You have touched everybody in some way or another, and they all love it, and we're all rooting for season 2, so get to it.
Okay. It's coming. Good.
Yes.
We're so happy to hear that. Yes. Well, Michael, you're not new to writing, as a lot of people may know or may not know. You've written plays, musicals. You're an award-winning children's author, which I was very happy to see because I actually have been doing a children's show where I have the author come on and read their book for the kids and stuff, but it's been on hiatus, but that piqued me back into interest of maybe restarting that again and having you on.
I would love to.
Thank you.
I think, it's interesting. I mean, I love writing for kids. It's interesting. As a kid, I did not read children's literature. I was a really advanced reader, and very quickly, it was a great source of pride to me that I was in third grade. I was reading grown-up books. But as an adult, I discovered children's literature, and good children's literature is really amazing. It's something that historically has been devalued in this country in a way that Europe and specifically and Japan have always held children's literature in a really high honorific place. And here it's always sort of that, it's somebody writes children's literature because they're trying to figure out how to write adult stuff, and it's to me really it's all, well, I could get on a soapbox about how we do and don't value children in our society in America for all sorts of reasons. Yeah. But I think that it's reflected in that, and I think it's really important to write well for children and not to write down to them,
Right, exactly. Well, I want to say, so at the age of 7, you were reading War and Peace, and at the adult age that you are now, you're reading Nanny Goes to the Store.
Yeah, exactly. And it's why I was a very old child and a very young, older man.
Well, but oh my gosh! As long as you get to it, that's all that matters.
Absolutely, so. and I also think that there's a wonderful A. Milne quote that I paraphrase because I've lost the actual quote, but he said something to the effect of, "You can't sit down to write a good children's story. You have to sit down to write a good story children will happen to enjoy," and I think that's true. In my writing, I don't sit down to say, I'm going to write a this or a that. This is the story I want to write, and it happens to be for that audience or this audience. In fact, when I wrote the first children's novel, it was just a story I wanted that I had wanted to write, and it was in my head. And after I wrote it, I gave it to a friend who gave it to a children's book agent, and who said, you've so perfectly captured the 8 to 12 market. And I said, is that a market? Because I was just writing the story I wanted to write.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite author.
I don't think people really do. I don't think any of the children's authors that I've spoken with have really sat down and thought about an age range. They write their story, and that's it. And wherever the market, puts them in, that's where they end up.
Exactly. And I think that's the way it should be. I think that, that's how you get interesting work. And it's, and again, it's not unlike, what we were just talking about with After Forever, that, it's, Kevin and I sat down to create a series about gay men who were 50-ish, but it wasn't just specifically only write a story that would be interesting to 50-year-old gay men. It was to write this story, and then to create this story. It's the same kind of thing. You follow the story, you follow the characters,
right?
And then I think the audience figures out who the audience is.
Exactly. Well, my question to you on that is, so how was writing for After Forever different from anything you've done before?
Great question.
He had to put up with me.
Well, there was that. That's a given. But I think frankly, the biggest thing was the form. When Kevin and I decided what we were going to do was this short form. I had written hour-long soap opera. I had written half-hour-long soap opera. I'd written plays. I'd never written things that were essentially 10-minute, 11-minute episodes. And as Kevin and I also talked about, in watching a lot of the web series that were out at the time we were first talking about this, some were quite good, but many felt like you were watching a scene. It wasn't really an episode. It was, that was a scene. Okay, I get it. And tomorrow I'll watch the next scene. And what was really important to us was to figure out how do you create episodes that are short form and have an arc and feel fulfilling in the way of I've just watched an episode, and yet that will also lead you to the next one. So I think that's what was really different, was figuring out 10-minute form.
And soap operas
so
actually,
it was fluid. Mm-hmm.
Well, I was going to say that soap operas, as we've seen them over the years, and the hour-longs, and brought to you by, they repeat and they re-inform, and they constantly, over and over and over again, give you all this exposition in case you didn't see any of it, and that's the overwriting that we don't need in any storytelling if you're telling a story from point A to point B. And these stories go on and on and on and on for these however many years they're on. So it is a different writing, but I think, I don't know, I just think the communication is, if you have that, you have your story and you can tell it. And then we had to embrace that short form and take out things that were like, that's really, we don't need that, do we, Michael? Or we don't need.
No, it was a lot about pairing. It was ruthlessly being willing to self-edit, and what is absolutely necessary in this episode to tell the arc of the story we're telling in this particular episode, and what is, and more importantly, what isn't necessary, and sort of kind of like taking a novelist and saying, okay, you're going to write a short story now, and so pair all that wonderful, evocative stuff that's all around your story, your main story out, and get to the heart of it.
And we also have
that can't be easy. That can't be easy for anybody.
No,
but what we also found, both in the writing and then in when we were filming, was that when you really trust your actors, when you trust your director and cinematographer, that suddenly two actors will have a look between them, and suddenly you don't need the next three lines because that look said it. And if you and recognizing that in the moment and making a note about it, so that when you go into editing, you can say, you know what, we don't need that. Or there were, Kevin, how many? There were 3 or 4 flashbacks that we cut during we never shot. That it became clear we didn't, just watching the scene they were going to flashback, they were going to be flashbacked into. We realized, you know what? We don't need it.
We don't need it. And I was just going to say, we had this incredible director of photography Colleen Kwok, and she, I still don't know where they found her, but she's just so
Allison, our
and
producer, found her.
Yes. I think they'd worked together before, or anyway, Colleen would give you these extraordinary, very simplistic, gorgeous long shots, or we'd pan from one side of the room to the other, and it's all gorgeous, and then we're like, get on with the story. We'd be editing this, and we felt bad we'd take some of this gorgeous artwork out, but again, it was, if it didn't tell the story, it didn't belong, and by the time certain things were left in, you could go, that's going to tell the audience this and this is happening, so let's take that out, So, but yeah, we cut quite a few things.
Well, I have another question, but I'm going to hold off on my question and let Anthony go ahead. Or actually, David, do your second question, and then Anthony, you go after him.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, Kevin and Michael. Lenny Wolpe and Anita Gillette were outstanding as supportive parents.
Yeah.
What qualities did each of you see in them did you hone in on?
In them, the actors?
Yes.
Well, I think, the characters are, on the page, they were written to be that complicated and supportive and, in some time, to a certain point tortured, but incredibly supportive couple. I've peripherally known Anita and been a huge fan of Anita's work forever, and just when I said to Kevin when we were talking about casting, what about Anita Gillette? Because I just knew that she would bring
what she brought.
There's what she brought, that warmth, that incredibly honest warmth.
Yeah.
I don't think Anita is capable of having a dishonest moment in her acting. And there are very few actors I would say that about, but she is. It's like she constitutionally can't be dishonest, and I knew that would be there, and there's a just incredible warmth that comes from her as a human being, and so that was Anita, and then Lenny, Kev, again, it was that sort of feeling of, God, wouldn't he be a great, and I don't think either of us knew Lenny, right? We first blindly.
Jameson Stern had worked with him, and Jameson plays one of the Pauls, and he said, "You should let me call him for you," and that's how we got a hold of.
His name had come up between us as that would be somebody who would play really well with Anita and bring another and bring that. Imagine the two of them married was really spoke to the couple that we had created on paper. And then they did. I really did. I feel like they just took what was there and ran with it and took it to places. There are moments between them that they're just so rich and so full, and places where there's not even a line, where what they're sharing in looks just is amazing for me.
And I think, and Anita's surprising too at times. Like that's my theory, saying it's 5:00. I think it's also she's surprising. She surprises me watching her on. She has these like moments where she's just, what are you talking about? It's real. She's probably the most real on that stage, and she's just fantastic.
Oh, I totally agree.
Thank you,
It was
David.
really an
Anthony?
honor. We had such you may have talked about this before I came on, but it was such an honor to have the cast we have, and sort of up and down the line. But they're really, Anita and Lenny are really, sort of the whipped cream on the sundae. That it's just...
Yeah, I'm Anthony. I'm from Staten Island, by the way. Hello. I want to just piggyback on something I said earlier. It definitely comes across as a passion project, and the casting was perfect. You told the story because the cast did their jobs phenomenally. There was so much unspoken that came through that pushed the story forward. We were supposed to have 2 questions, but I actually have a third that's sort of soap campy. That I'm the soapiest soap fan. I've been watching for over 30 years. And Kevin, I wanted to ask if there is a season 2, and we're all praying that there is.
Well, Michael already confirmed that, so your wish has come true.
Oh, awesome. How about having Patrika on for a guest camp spot? I loved your chemistry together.
Anything's possible. I mean, anything's possible. I'm sure she would be the first one to say, "Hey, have me on your show." She just won another Emmy for a web series. I love Patrika. I mean, we just had a great time. So yes, if there's something that's right for her, and I don't know, Michael, have we finished outlining the entire second season yet?
Not completely.
I think.
I never say never. That's certainly. I love Patrika also. I mean, I wrote for Days. I wrote for Patrika Days. So
what was the other thing I was going to say? The other one was who asked us this? Call me Adam. Adam Rosenberg. Rothenberg. Yes. So, Kevin, don't you think that Hugh Jackman could have a cameo on your show? It's like everyone in the person that you've worked with. I said, anything's possible. So maybe we'll have a scene between Patrika and Hugh. Yeah, and there you go.
My first serious question, I was wondering, the supernatural aspect of the show, I don't want to give away too much, but did either one of you bring anything personal into that, or did it come about as of stories from friends? It was done so well and so not over the top that I just wondered if you touched on anything real life.
Kev, you want me to do that, or you want to do?
Well, I was just going to say and hand it to you, which was when Michael had told me about passing up his partner about 2 years prior to our meeting, I said, "Do you still talk to him?" And he just nodded his head and said, "Of course, yeah." So that's not supernatural to me. That's just what happened. And the relationship doesn't end, and that's. Take it away, Michael.
I agree. It's interesting. I don't really. For me, I don't think of it so much as supernatural.
Right.
But I feel like just because somebody's gone, it doesn't end the relationship. Kevin, mm-hmm. I'm actually quoting Kevin on that. But it's what is supernatural is that he, we're putting him physically there, but it's
eating salads. Yeah, that's what
but I mean,
said.
I'm speaking from my own personal experience. It's been 5 years since I lost my partner, but I will still, sitting in the car today, turn and say, could you do something about this traffic, or because this is, I need help here, or God, can you believe what's going on in my family this week? It's just they're sort of there, and I, and talking to other people who've lost people that whether it's a partner or a parent or a child that or a friend, there's that, a lot of people still talk to that person who's physically not in the room with them anymore. So
I think we also take it.
The short version is the short answer is I guess that was that came from no, I don't see him sitting in the chair, but I do talk to him.
Right. It wasn't about what's the rabbit, the Jimmy
Harvey?
Stewart with the rabbit. Harvey. It's not Harvey.
Yeah.
We're not doing Harvey here. But I think though it's a tool that was easy to incorporate, and it wasn't constantly writing the scene like, oh, if Jason was here, I wonder what he'd say. That's what people have always done in parties.
The other thing that the conceit of it does, and it allows us to, because we're picking up the story we're starting our story in real time at a point that someone is gone. But that allows us, as do the flashbacks, but it allows us to see them having a relationship. It allows us to see them
how they were
being a couple. Yeah. And in some ways, in this season, we see them being almost an idealized version of what that couple is. I mean, I think it's a stage because it's a stage of grief that you initially only see, for the most part, are only seeing the good stuff. But
right.
But we're seeing who they were when they were good.
Yeah.
I agree. That's what anybody tends to remember is the good stuff over the bad stuff or anything that you've gone through other than that.
And I think that it's an important step in grieving, which Brian is not at yet. In the 1 year marker here, is that then. I know it was certainly important for me, was to then start to remember the things that weren't great. Mm-hmm. Because otherwise, it's very hard to move forward. Otherwise,
exactly.
The person winds up becoming this superhuman, down from Olympus, and nobody you meet is going to be able to measure up to the idealized version of the person that isn't here. And I 100%. Think that's another stage, the next stage.
And you just answered my second question, actually. That was the theme of my second question. In season 2, are you going to address that? If there, at that point, I didn't know for sure there would be a season 2.
Yes, that I'm jumping in saying yes. That would be something. That will be something to address.
And Patricia Darbo will be the one addressing it.
Well, you weren't here earlier. As a gay man, I just want to thank you for putting together something that I actually see myself in. I actually see people I know in. I said earlier that movies have come a long way, but the small screen is still desperately trying to catch up. And this web series is something that everybody should look at who wants to write a story focusing on 2 gay main characters.
Thank you. You may have said this before I came on, but the thing that when Kevin and I first ran into each other at the gym and he, agreed that we would talk about maybe writing something, working on something, creating something, and the thing that intrigued me was Kevin said I want it to be a series about a gay man or gay men who are my age, who are grown-ups.
Yeah.
And that was, that was my "you had me at hello" moment. That was, okay, this is something I want to talk about because that's important to me. And for those reasons of I want to see people, it's time we saw stories about people who are not who are not 20 and who are not not that I'm happy to see stories about 20-year-olds or 30-year-olds, but there's a whole world that we then inhabit beyond that, and it's really important culturally, I think, and sociologically, that even young people get to see 50-year-old men presented,
right?
That
and Anthony,
as role models.
Yeah, and you said something, Anthony, that it made you. Made you proud, or I don't know how you said you felt like you could fit in to this crowd. I have to just honestly say, I never felt that as an actor or as a person until I really got to jump in with this with Michael, because this was, my world is so defined by you have to be a certain way. You have to be not this way. You have to be something else. And that was always so confronting because I didn't always like what I saw out in the world of the gay culture. But
yeah,
Michael and I definitely, the temperature we took on that was like, well, we're just going to be. And I have thanked him over and over, and I will thank him again now. There are some things that he has written for not just my character, but for other characters. And I go, oh, my God, that's so perfect. That's exactly right. And you just get to go and walk on stage and do it, and present it. So thank you, Michael.
But you're welcome. But I think it's, as I have gotten older, I find that my writing and whatever I'm working on has gotten, it's always been personal, but it's gotten more and more personal. And not necessarily autobiographical and personal, but just, what's deep
important
in it is
what you care about. Yeah,
exactly. And things that, and learning to make statements. I mean, I think there are huge statements being made in this piece, politically,
Absolutely.
quite frankly, in America in 2018. But they're not standing on a soapbox and making this. They're statements that are just by virtue of the storytelling that are being made, and I'm really proud of that.
I've always been a huge proponent of, I love gay pride and all that, but we don't need to scream. We need to live by example, and this series was perfectly that. Living good, living honestly, rather than screaming for acceptance. I
think that there was a time we absolutely needed to scream because we were invisible.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, we should know the history.
We needed to, and I think that's important historically, especially for I don't know how old you are, what decade you're in, but especially
41.
For young people to know that it wasn't always what we have now, and there's certainly a place. We still have room to go, but it's very easy to not. It's very easy to be a gay teenager or 20-something right now, and not necessarily understand that there was what a statement it would have been to be as out as somebody is today 30 years ago or 50 years ago. I
live in New York City, and you'd be amazed at how many 20-somethings have no idea what Stonewall is or was. Oh, isn't that the bar? Yes, it's the bar, but it's the bar that made all the rest of the bars okay for you.
Right, exactly. And it's also, it's interesting because I look at, well, let me back it the other way. Years ago, we had neighbors who were an much older gay couple who had been together forever, and they each had their friends at work, but their friends at work did not know that either of them were gay. and did not know about the other. They were never invited to their home. And then they had their gay friends who knew them as a couple. And they would look at my partner and I, and just, they were just, their minds were just sort of blown. And we were at the time, I guess in our late 20s, or maybe early 30s, and say, they would look at us and just go, oh my God, I can't even imagine being out the way you guys are. And it's just so not generationally what we could have ever done.
Right.
And then I fast forward to here, and I look at the middle school kids and high school kids who are fully out in a way that I came out college, post college, and I look at them and I go, oh my God, I can't imagine what it would be like to be 15 and dating appropriately with someone who I was truly attracted to, and look where we've come from. Look where we've come, and and then I sort of feel like that old couple who looked at me that way, but it also the thing that all carries with it is we need history books. we need to be aware that it wasn't always this. That it how brave. I mean, I forever think about how this older couple, how brave they were in their day, that they were just even living together the way they were back pre-Stonewall. I mean, they were together pre-Stonewall.
Wow.
And that's pretty amazing.
And love is love is love is love, and that's sort of where we're coming to. I think it is a different time. It is such a different time.
I have a play that deals with marriage, and it premiered at a regional theater in the Midwest, and at a performance where there was a talk back with me as the playwright. Afterwards, we were in Trump. I mean, it wasn't that this particular city wasn't Trump country, but it was it was Midwest, and this man came over to me who looked like what I would stereotypically say was a Trump supporter, and said to me, gay people have all the same issues in marriage that we do. I never thought about that before. I never thought about that before, and I thought, and I stopped, and I caught myself about to say something mildly sarcastic, and I went, "This is an epiphany moment for this man. Don't belittle it for him. This was he suddenly realized we're all alike, and he got it." And so it was kind of like, you know what? Yeah. So I said, you're right. We have a lot more in common than we have,
we are more alike, my friends, than we are unalike.
You guys should be so proud of yourself. I have a feeling this show is going to be something that people, I know I'm doing it, are bringing to people in their lives to sort of say, this is what it's really like. This is what it really feels like, just like you.
That's beautiful.
I did lose someone in my 20s, and it's.
Sorry.
That's
early. That's very young to have to lose someone.
I woke up. We fought the night before. I woke up that morning and I was an idiot. I did not apologize, and she was in a car accident 8:30 that night. Everybody at that time, I'm 41 now, everybody at that time sort of they knew I was hurt, they knew, but they dismissed it. They didn't understand that was, I now know we might not have grown together, but at that point, we were going to spend our lives together. That was happily ever after. And no one took it as though I lost. We weren't married at that time. There was no marriage. I didn't lose my husband, but I lost the person I wanted to spend the rest of my life with.
Sure.
But because I was gay, it was poo-pooed slightly.
Yeah.
But just that slight hurt so deep. And this I can take to members of my family and say, this is what it felt like. Or close to what it felt like.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm Italian.
It's interesting. I'm outside of a very early blip when I came out. My parents have been wonderfully supportive of me, my whole life. I've been very lucky in that. Other than, as I said, there was a blip when there was a moment, a period of adjustment to it was the way the plans that had been being made since I was in utero were not going to be the ones that we were going to live. But and in hindsight, it was whether it's right to be making those plans for your unborn fetus. That's a whole other story. But that's what expected mothers
they
do.
did. Right.
And but anyway, point being is that I lost my dad a few months ago, and
I'm sorry.
It was.
I'm sorry.
Thanks. I mean, he was almost 95. It was not, it's sad, but it's not tragic. It was sort of like, well, he lived to be 95. He did everything he wanted to do in his life. It was a great life. But my mom, who is now at 88, a widow, turned to me right afterwards and said, "You understand what I'm going through in a way nobody else does." And I said, "You're right, I do, Mom. And we can talk about that." And, it's that connection. She said, you lost your husband. I've lost my husband. I said, yeah. I said, I can't pretend to know what it's like to have been with somebody for over 60 years because we didn't have that. But, yeah, I know what it is to lose my husband. So, it's been a sort of interesting seeing my mom, on a whole other level, except, see, well, what we've been talking about, that we are more, we are all alike. We experience, and when we experience loss is, love is love and loss is loss.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
It's
you guys should be so proud. You really achieved it.
Oh, thank you.
And thank you for bringing it to other people.
Yes.
My two co-hosts.
Yes.
I didn't catch.
Oh no! I mean, he'd been saying that he's bringing this to other people to show them what life is like,
what it's about now.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm just thanking you, Anthony, for bringing it to however many other
We've
people
hired him now.
Introducing to
We've
it.
hired him as a PR. He's our PR person now, Anthony.
Unofficially.
Excuse
but
me.
absolutely.
I didn't just fall off the train. I've been promoting. Give me some kudos here.
And to you too, and thank you for having us here.
Pam, and where can we learn more about After Forever? On Take Two Radio.
On Amazon Prime, on Take Two Radio's website, on Twitter, on Facebook, on the After Forever website. I can go on.
Which is AfterForeverTheSeries.com.
Right.
Yeah.
You got to write it down for me in a little speech to memorize it.
Yeah.
So, thank you so much for
Well,
having
I
us
just
on
had
this.
one last question for you guys, and then we'll
Sure.
let you go because we know that time is running low here. Yeah, well, that too. What was your favorite scene or made the most impact on you? And that goes to both of you.
Go first, Kevin. I don't know. I want to think about it a second. Unless you want to think about it.
Well, no, I mean, all of these scenes are our children. I mean, they're apples and oranges, and there's so many. I mean, there's group scenes that are so fun. I knew from the moment we did that scene around the table in the opening episode, it was we were sailing with the dinner party and the cake, and that was magic. That was just magic. But I was with Mitchell, and Mitchell and I knew from the beginning that Mitchell was the right person to do this role. I'd asked Michael if he knew his work, and I just knew that if he would come to the set, and he did, he just opened his heart, and I saw him do things that I don't know if he knew how aware he was doing them, but he was so good and so in this role. And then I watched Michael walk off the set because he was touched. And those are the things that I remember.
I love that. Michael, your turn.
For me, the scene that it's the scene between Jason and Lisa.
Katie. Yeah.
It's the flashback scene when she's about to sing, and we flash back to the day that he told his oldest friend that he had this diagnosis. There's in that. I as difficult a scene as it is for me to watch, it's there are so many levels. The love between them.
Yeah.
And it's and not only what's on the page, but what these two actors did. When Katie as Lisa, all of a sudden, clearly having a brand new thought for herself, says, "Have you told your parents yet?" You see the world of her character, who is also a mother, thinking. Oh, you could just see all the wheels turning all the time between with these two people, and all of the levels of friendship that long predates the relationship between Brian and Jason, and that's why I love the scene. It's just so rich.
It's also they jumped into it too. They didn't really know each other then. I think it was their first day of filming actually together. And
no, what? Oh, maybe
we hadn't done the dinner party yet. We had not done. Yeah, I think that night we were doing the dinner party, but that day we had done that scene, and they went for it, and it is. It's I have to agree, Michael. It's one of the centerpieces of the show, and it's so beautiful, and it's funny and it's heartwarming and touching too. So it's got everything in it.
I think it does.
And let me just add to that, Katie singing. Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, really. I mean, could we ask for more than what she does with that song?
I'm telling you, she has a voice. Oh my gosh! And I even tweeted to her about that. I mean, she just has a beautiful, beautiful voice. All the emotions coming through. It brings tears to your eyes just listening to her sing the song alone.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she did something really lovely too. We were moving very fast in all days, in all scenes. We did the whole shoot in 12 days. They always cover the singer, and then they move on, and then they turn the camera around. And we didn't do a pre-recording of her singing, so she sang it live, which I'm always a huge fan of.
Well, we were.
It feels right.
And
it feels right. It just feels right. It feels right. And then she was dismissed to go to the next set, and I had asked our director. I said, I thought we were going to turn around, and she was going to sing live, so I could utilize that live. And she goes, "Oh, I'll stay."
Ah.
I wasn't asking her to. I just thought that she's quite the spirit. She really is. So, that's what I know.
I can't wait for season 2, and I think there are thousands of people out there feeling the same way.
Cool.
That's it. Let's get it going. All right, guys. Well, we're going to let you go, and we want to thank you so much for joining us. And Michael, it was such a pleasure meeting you.
It was lovely to meet you, and I thank you for getting me in late.
Oh, that's okay. Not a problem.
Okay. You have a hall pass. Bye, gang.
Yeah.
Have a great week.
Okay. Goodbye.
Bye.
All right. Have a good night, everybody.
You too.
Good night, guys.
Thanks. Okay, so we are down to 28 minutes, so I don't think that we're going to be able to, recap all the soaps, and I'm so mad here. I was, doing a multitask kind of thing of trying to recover my notes that I made for the soaps, and unfortunately, it's not showing me. It's showing me to recover on my Word documents, like stuff that I did today, but I did those notes today, and I can't figure out where they went. So we'll just wing it, and we might only be able to cover a couple of soaps today, and then we'll just have to wait until the next show, although the next show we're going to have guests as well. So we can only do... Oh, wait, no. So that would be June. Yeah, June is the next show that we'll have guests. And I'm not going to say who they are yet because I know of one confirmed, but there could be possibly another one or maybe two more. I don't know. We'll find out.
Ooh, that's very soapy.
Yeah, right? Even Anthony and Carolyn and Candice don't know. David doesn't even know. I mean, so it's...
Oh, I don't know.
I don't let out everything until everything's confirmed because I've done that before. I've said, hey guys, guess what? So and so agreed to be on the show, but then they never confirm or follow through with an email or something, and I don't want to do that anymore because it's not only heartbreaking for me, but it's heartbreaking for the rest of you guys too, especially when we're looking forward to it. So let's go real quick with B&B. I don't have a ton of stuff to say about that from what I remember of my notes.
There's not really enough to say about B&B.
Right. What I want to say is that I'm highly disappointed that Hope jumped on that train and accepted that engagement knowing that she was second choice in this particular situation.
Yeah, I always said 3 or 4 years ago that B&B wrote true to their characters. When someone was gone for a while and came back, they were pretty true with the returning character, even if it was a recast. Not so much anymore. Ridge is completely changed. Thorne is completely changed, and now Hope is not completely changed, but that's not the Hope that left.
She has no strength in her whatsoever. She has no self-esteem as far as I'm concerned. Because how could she not know, unless she's that blinded by love is the only thing I can come up with, that she's a rebound. And that rebounds, I would say 99% of the time, are not going to last.
Even though Liam admits that she isn't.
Yeah, but he admits that while he's still sitting there daydreaming about Stephanie. I mean, he did it again today.
And we really have to take a look at the history. They flip-flop back and forth. Steffi got in the middle of them. Then there was the whole Wyatt debacle, and then she was gone. So for her to be gone for 2 years, you're saying she had an unabiding and has been waiting for the moment that there was going to be a crack?
Holding on to the ring because someday she was going to get it back on her finger. Please.
It's just not believable. It's justifying a triangle that they desperately want to work. And the viewers are not happy. They're not happy.
Some things are not working. Although on some B&B boards, there are Liam and Hope supporters, and
of course there's always going to be fans. But if they look at it in reality, even from a soap view, I mean, that just to me, I don't know. It's maybe
I
just me. I just
Liam
don't
and
think
Hope
it works.
to be together, but not in 10 minutes, and not 5 minutes after he told Steffi, "I can't trust you."
Right.
There needs to be some supposition between Steffi, I can't be with you, and Hope, will you marry me?
Exactly. Now, if he would have said to Hope, okay, it's over between me and Stephanie, and I know that we love each other, but let's take this slow and see where it goes or build on it or something that would have made more sense.
Yeah, the Liam of 3 years ago would have said, "Let me make you fall in love with me again. Let me date you the way you should have been dated back then. Not will you marry me." It just none of it makes sense, and it's very disappointing. I'm very disappointed in Hunter Tylo's return. They made a character out of. I'm very disappointed. They made a character out of her.
Yeah, I mean, since when is she this breaking apart, falling down wacko that just picks up a gun and shoots Bill? It just, to me, I don't get all that either.
I was hoping that she'd have a little more power than when they brought Sheila back.
Yeah, so was I. I think we should move.
I mean,
right
I'm
along.
glad she's back on. I just wish that it wasn't the way it was.
They do better for her.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even mind her getting back into the mix with Brooke and Ridge. Excuse me.
Yeah, if you want a triangle, bring that one back. Absolutely.
Exactly.
And one more thing bothers me with Bold and Beautiful. They're very good at talking about characters that aren't on Candace, and yet they really never, ever, ever mention Phoebe. And that bothers me too.
I know. That's her twin sister.
At the wedding, there should have been at least one mention. Something. They had Stephanie talking to Brooke. They could have had Phoebe talk, it's just...
They could have Phoebe talking to...
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I totally agree. The other thing I wanted to bring up, I'm trying to picture in my head my notes, was I love Wyatt and Katie together, but I also see the I also see the chemistry between her and Thorne. What do you guys think?
Either way, I wish they would play it out, because I'd love to see it more. Both sides.
They got a powerhouse like Ingo to come in, and they're doing nothing with it. Yeah, they need to play that a little bit more. But I absolutely love Wyatt and Katie. And when they started role-playing, I just thought that was so fresh and so cute, and it completely solidified the couple for me.
Yep, I totally agree. I love how their relationship happened, because it was just a kind of fling thing, and then they fell in love. So I love how that came about. Yeah. And I don't want to see them break up, but if they're going to have give us a little bit of a storyline that Thorne is interested in Katie, then go for it. Don't just tease us, because what sense does that make? And the other thing I don't like either is that he was gung-ho to get Brooke, and now Brooke's gone, so, okay, let's get Katie. Like 2 seconds later, when he's supposedly so in love with Brooke for all these years.
Yeah, that's the Bold and the Beautiful standard for the last 5 years, too. Look at Thorne and Katie. Look at Brooke and everyone. Quinn has been in love, and in love 2 days later with someone else. They're very unbelievable with the way they set up the triangles. They're very unbelievable with the way they set up most relationships. That's why Katie and Wyatt came across so fresh and so believable. Because it was up against all this, and there's a huge faction of fans out there that actually are rooting for Steffi and Bill. I like their chemistry. I don't want them together.
I do too.
But I do like their chemistry. But it's so unbelievable that they could find something without Liam leaving her in pregnancy crisis or something where, he was there for her in a huge way and not holding blackmail over her mother. Otherwise, it's just not believable.
Right. Totally agree. All right, so now we're down to 20 minutes. Do you have anything else on Bold and the Beautiful you want to say? Because I'm pretty much done right there.
Do.
Okay. Yeah. Just in case Bold and Beautiful powers that be are actually listening to this, you need to sweep the canvas more. Stop touting like Rick and Maya for a day just to pop them in. You need to have more broad canvas stories.
Right.
People are really getting tired of the triangle and the triangle alone. Okay.
Yes, that's it. I agree. Okay, so next up we'll do Y&R. I'm devastated, like we mentioned last time, about Jack possibly not being John's son, but it's supposedly confirmed by this DNA test that was done by a friend of Ashley's. But I still have this strong feeling that DNA test is not right.
How many are?
Exactly.
I think I like what Neil told Jack today. He says, remember, she can't hurt you anymore, and go on with the rest of your life proud to be John Abbott's son, regardless if it was DNA or not, because that's who you were, and that's who you are.
Right.
Yeah, that was.
And I think it would be a big. I'm sorry. I just thought it would be a big, huge disservice to John Abbott's memory and all that the fans know to have Jack not be his son, as bad as it was to have Days kill off Will. That's how I feel. That's how strongly I feel about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was shoved down our throats for years that no matter what, Ashley was John Abbott's son. So for that not to be everyone's standpoint with Jack is just semi-ball drop for The Young and the Restless as well.
Right. And I would love to have seen a full version of the Dina movie. But unfortunately, with this mess that happened, and, it doesn't surprise me that they figured out Kyle as part of this, because Kyle has been yapping in their ears, that he wants to be a part of the family, blah, blah, blah. Yet he meets Victor out in the open and is talking to him about being part of Newman and that. So how could they not figure out that Kyle is the one that did it? You know what I mean? And all the other things that came about that showed Kyle did it.
And I want to know how it got in there in the first place. Because I can't really figure it out. Did Victor? You think it was Victor?
I think it was Victor.
Or it was Victor using Kyle's evidence. What else would it be?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it had to be probably when he came, right before he entered the theater.
I'm sure he had somebody switch the whatever they were using, a disc or whatever, and to put his own there. Or, well, didn't they say that the person that was doing the video, showing the video, was a friend of somebody's?
It was
that had to do with
Lillian Kane's son.
Yeah, I think so. Charlie.
Yeah, but they mentioned somebody was a friend of a friend.
Oh, in the.
So maybe that theater. Friend of a friend somehow. I don't know. I'm trying to think of what I watched, but it was too obvious, how this came about. And I think it kind of ruined Dina's Alzheimer's story.
People are saying that.
Yeah, people are saying it. I don't think that it ruined her story. I think it was.
I think it's just life happens.
Yeah, I think it was a bad choice. However, in Alzheimer's, there are a lot of moments that are cringeworthy and bad choices. So I don't think it ruined the story, but
I don't mean it ruined the whole storyline. I just think it just kind of ruined that moment. But, because it would have been kind of nice to show Dina's story. And this way, people in real life, I'm sure they've done that. And if they haven't, it gave them an idea of, well, let's do this, before we lose all of Dad's or Mom's memories or whoever. I just think it would have been a nice nod to it.
Yeah, but you know what? I think that, Jill and John, Smith out in Iowa sitting down with their mom might find out that she had an affair in her 20s before Jill was ever born.
But that's going to if that's going to happen, this person is going to say it anyhow. It just isn't going to be on videotape.
Sure. I do think that the end game is going to be that there's going to be a touching death, and that there is going to be, a couple of weeks of Dina dying, and Dina, or spiraling to the point where she has to be institutionalized.
Right.
And I think that they're pulling back on the focus of Dina so that they can draw it out a little bit and get through this mess of a storyline that they've created before. And they're going to need that arc to bring the Abbotts back together. Maybe minus Kyle.
Yeah. I still want to throat punch him.
A lot of people do.
And I have to say, the whole the whole JT got killed storyline is really annoying the crap out of me.
Yeah.
Is Sharon gonna crack? Is Phyllis is Phyllis, but not Phyllis. The whole storyline is just not working well.
No, because it doesn't seem like there's a good way to end this storyline. I think we're going to be disappointed no matter how they end it.
They ramped up telling this story. I don't know if to compete with Days or it seems to me it's to compete with Days, and they really dropped the ball again. This was not done well on any platform. The supporters are saying, okay, but JT was the perfect character because you never know behind the smiling facade. But there was nothing in his history that would make this believable. And then the aftermath. Actually,
that part, I'm just going to disagree with you because I was in an abusive relationship for 2.5 years. If I didn't tell anybody, like the majority of the people in my life did not know, but I did. My mom knew, of course, because I would tell my mom everything. But if I didn't even tell her, and the people that didn't know were just as shocked to learn that I was in an abusive relationship for 2.5 years.
So do you think he was
that
abusing
I believe,
Colleen?
Because, pardon?
You think he was abusing Colleen?
No.
I don't know if he was abusing her. I mean, it's always a possibility because people that abuse people don't usually start out as a nice person. There's always that in the background. He may have abused her behind the scenes that we don't know of as far as vocally, emotionally, He might have done it that way like he was doing with Mac because he never hit Mac. But you see how it evolves. It evolves.
Yeah, but
they don't just start out as a hitter.
When we
evolve.
saw him and Mac, we saw happily ever after. We saw true love.
Yeah.
When they left,
that's the thing too.
They were prince and princess. This is a soap opera. They get to rewrite history. Absolutely, it's done every day on every show. But that would sort of be like it would be more believable if Victor was slapping around Nikki than JT. That's almost like Days of Our Lives, the two. Julie and what's Julie's husband? If we suddenly found out all these years he's been, emotionally and physically abusing her, it's just not in the character that we knew before he left.
That's true. It was such an innocent between JT and Colleen. It was an innocent love story. And even with Mac, it was when they got together.
It was Prince and Princess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess maybe you just have to go through it to understand what I'm trying to say. And like I said, they don't start out, like I said, as hitters. It evolves. It starts with one time getting in a fight and calling her a name. We don't know what kind of arguments. Nobody has 100% love relationship without an argument of some type. And by calling her a name, that's abuse. So he just evolved relationship to getting worse.
Yeah.
So that was my only thing I wanted to say about that. But yeah, they need to work on that. We're down to 7 minutes. The other thing I wanted to talk about was Hillary and Devon. Does Devon have a working brain that uses common sense? I don't think so. He's hopping into that hot plate again with Hillary getting pregnant.
Yeah, when they took that thing off his head, I think they touched a part of his brain and fried it a little bit.
Exactly. I mean, I just can't with that. I'm like, hello, didn't you just go through a bunch of crap with her and her jealousy and regretting signing that thing for her to get pregnant? I mean, come on.
I'm like, man, make up your mind.
Oh,
1
my
minute.
gosh.
He's like a yo-yo.
It's too funny.
Yeah, she's the Nell of Y&R. They really can't.
Oh yeah.
They can't truly give her a mold. And it's believable. It's more believable than Nell, thank God. But it's annoying.
Yeah, it's very annoying. But when he did that scene with Abby today, I loved it.
Oh my God, the heat. Yes.
Right? Exactly.
They dropped that ball like 3 times. 3 times they teased us with Devon and Abby. And that would be such a hot couple.
Yep. I totally agree.
He's doofy hot and she's doofy cute. Would be perfect.
Right, and especially more so than that girl he's dating now. I don't see any chemistry between them whatsoever.
No one did. That's why she's gone.
Yeah, they need to move on to Devon and Abby, although I think that he's going to end up back with Hillary.
Yep.
Yeah, it's sad. It's sad.
So,
all right, Pam.
On a happier note, I just want to say I'm glad Christoph is back on CANDICE.
I was going to say the same thing. Yes, I think we're all super excited to have Christoph back. I'm thrilled to death. I just absolutely love him. He brings so much to the show, and we just wish him the best that life has to offer. And he's always in our prayers. So, short version of GH, you mentioned Nell. I want to throat punch her still. She's still bringing it as far as acting, just like Kyle is on Y&R, because otherwise we wouldn't hate them as much. But what she's doing to Carly is driving me up a wall.
Yeah. Someone's got to kick her.
Yeah. And I really cringe at what she's doing to Ava, too. Now, I'm a big Ava fan. Everyone knows that now. However, when you only have one ally, man, he is crazy, is that poop crazy as you are, even the craziest people know, don't throw your ally under the bus.
Right. Exactly. And that's exactly what she's doing.
Yeah.
She blackmailed her into everything tonight, or today, I should say.
And on the secondary note, this is a drone. She killed Connie. She just blackmailed Sonny for, joint custody. Now, you might think you cool. You might think you got big britches, but...
She's going to find out the hard way when she's coming up against Ava and Carly, that's for sure.
Yeah.
She's going to find out the hard way. Unfortunately, I saw something where Carly ends up in jail, but that's not going to last long, and she'll get her comeuppance. And
Nell's going to accuse her of pushing her down the stairs.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't read spoilers, so thank you for that, Anthony. Unfortunately, we're at the 2-minute mark, so we're going to have to continue this next show. We'll get more into it, and hopefully by that time I'll be caught up with Days. But I just wanted to mention, and this is going to be news to Anthony as well, I got an email today. Take Two Radio, in 72 hours, will be part of iHeartRadio.
Nice. Congratulations.
Isn't that awesome?
That is really awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. I submitted, and I totally forgot about it and got an email today, and I was like, what? Wait, what am I reading? So, yeah, we'll be on iHeartRadio. Now, don't ask me how it works because I have no clue. I don't know if people will have access to previous episodes or if it's going to be the episodes coming up after the 72 hours. I know nothing. That's all they tell you is congratulations, you were accepted. In 72 hours, you'll be able to find it on iHeartRadio.com or the apps for iPhone and Android.
Well, then we will start promoting the heck out of that online.
Definitely. Definitely.
Well.
So.
Well, May 24th.
May 24th, is that, what do you mean?
Our next show. That's our next show.
Oh, well, yeah, okay, yeah. I think Anthony was saying something different.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was saying we'll start promoting the heck out of go find us on our iHeartRadio.
Yeah, in 72 hours, which is 3 days, so on May 13th. But don't promote it until we can look and see and we find the show on there. But
right.
if not on the 13th, I would say 99% that it will be on the 14th. So anyways, that's it. We're down to seconds now. I want to thank you guys for joining me tonight. It was great talking to Michael Slade and Kevin-Spiritas and all your questions for them. And we'll see you next time, May 24th, like David said, at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Join us. Good night, guys. Take care. God bless.
Keep watching all the soaps, guys. Good night.